and thank you for responding positively to our invitation to attend this press conference. My name is Machini Mutlong. I'm the co-chairperson of FC Spartans, a club affiliated in the ABC Motsepe League, and it's based in Mangaung. And I'm here as well leading the delegation of clubs affiliated in the same league, ABC Motsepe League in the Free State. I must indicate that this press briefing has been sanctioned by all the clubs, and present here we have representatives from other clubs which I would want them to introduce themselves. Some of our club members have joined virtually through a Zoom platform. Without further ado, let me hand over to my colleagues to do the introduction, and thereafter we will revert to the business of the day. Thank you.
Yes. My name is Alex Maholela. I'm from Dikwena United FC. I am in support of the press conference that is being led by my colleague, Mr. Machini Mutlong. Thank you.
Thank you for the platform. My name is Chomontul. I'm representing FC Black Cross. I'm aware about the press conference. It's not a surprise to me. You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will also be joined by Mr. Sipo, is the chairman of Mataitai FC. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we convened this press conference is actually a culmination of a myriad of issues that came to the table and to the fore, raised by ABC Motsepe League clubs. To this end, it's important that one should lay a bit of salient background details to have a clear understanding of where we are. As ABC Motsepe League clubs in the Free State, we had a meeting a few months ago where we raised sharply issues of concern and issues that really touched on the nerve of running of the clubs in the Free State. In this meeting, clubs were represented and clubs raised, among others, issues relating to non-payment of traveling allowance and subsidies. These were, among others, issues which were raised. Now, this led to clubs deciding to author a joint memorandum of grievances. And they tabled a whole range of issues that really impacted adversely and negatively in the running of their clubs. Chief in these issues was the incessant default in paying travel allowance and or subsidy to all the clubs in the Free State. Must at this juncture indicate that clubs, in terms of the arrangement, receive what I will term a stipend of an amount of 30,000 per annum. This is an amount that has to go towards traveling allowance and subsidies. And in terms of practice, this amount would always be paid, or should actually be paid, prior to the commencement of the new season. Now, clubs have been concerned that for the past 2 or 3 soccer seasons, they've been struggling to receive traveling allowance or subsidy in respect of, in breach of the commitment made in this instance by the league. Now, I'm saying this is a 30,000 per club that has to be paid. Clubs have been concerned that this amount is not even linked to CPIX. It's not inflation linked. So it's a flat rate of an amount of 30,000, irrespective of the increase in costs, fuel costs, traveling costs, and all of those considerations to be made. But that was not the point at the time. At the time, it was to say, please, league, you need to come to the party, be of assistance to the clubs by paying to the clubs monies that are due to them. This joint memorandum of grievances was sent to the league, and a response to that was a meeting which was convened between the league and the clubs on the 20th of August 2023. This meeting was held in Valcom at CE2 campus. The meeting was attended by high-powered delegation of the league, including the deputy president, and all the clubs were in attendance. An assessment and a whole range of issues were raised in that meeting. I wouldn't dwell much into the nitty-gritties of issues which were raised or rather discussed in that meeting, except that the very same issue of non-payment, the default in payment of allowances, featured prominently in the discussions. Commitments were made by all and sundry in that gathering, and action log was adopted in terms of monitoring of the adherence of implementation of these resolutions. All parties were in concert that an amount, that the league will revert to the clubs on or before the 1st of September 2023. We took this commitment seriously as the clubs, because we were of the view that the issues that were raised were important, crucial, and emotive, and they required urgent attention. It is saddening to note that to this date, today is the 23rd of September, 21st of September, that the clubs have not received any feedback, any progress report in respect of the issues which were raised there. Now, in our view, this conduct is regressive in nature, because all the gains that we thought were made on the 20th of August 2023 have now been reduced to ashes. We don't have any resolutions anymore. What actually shocked the clubs was an invitation which was then issued by the league for a pre-season meeting to be held on the 16th of September, notwithstanding the issues that the clubs had raised sharply with the league, notwithstanding the fact that there is an action log which has not been attended to or adhered to in whatever shape, manner, or form. Now, the league had the audacity to convene a pre-season gathering. By the way, the pre-season gathering, among others, deals with fixture draw, and it would appear that the league was mainly interested in just ensuring that a fixture draw is conducted, irrespective of the outstanding issues that the league is fully aware of that they needed to address with the clubs. To us, that exhibited unparalleled arrogance, level of arrogance on the part of the league. And it reduced clubs to non-entities. That clubs were now undermined, that whatever resolutions which were taken on the 20th of August should just be disregarded. The clubs raised these concerns with the league upon receipt of the invitation to attend the meeting. And we were met with untold and unimaginable arrogance when the league informed clubs that they are going to proceed with pre-season meeting with or without the clubs. Now, my understanding, small understanding of the term meeting means that there are two parties coming together to discuss issues of mutual and common interest. Now we're sitting with a situation where we are told, without you, we are going through a meeting. In our view, it was not a meeting, perhaps for lack of an appropriate term, it was a monologue. And what happened in that monologue session is that the league conducted a draw without clubs. Pre-season meeting usually addresses any other business impacting on the clubs. So it means this was not even a meeting as I indicated, but a monologue of just going through the motion in terms of conducting a fixture draw, because no other issues could have been discussed. If they were to be discussed, with who in attendance? Because none of the clubs, except 2 or 3 clubs which showed up. Even them, it's 2 clubs from tertiary institutions. And 1 club went there to just observe and check what was happening and provide feedback, because we were shocked to see on the day in issue a meeting proceeding without clubs. We need to indicate that we authored a notice of declination of that invitation. And we declined the invitation, and we provided reasons why we declined the invitation. And the invitation to attend that pre-season meeting was declined primarily due to the fact that there are hanging issues, there are outstanding issues, which we at the time, even now, still waiting for the league to revert to us on. And we could not have put the cart before the horse. The horse will trip. We want to deal with these issues, settle them, and ensure that we pave way to a season, soccer season 2023-24, which is not marred with any controversies, where outstanding issues should have been resolved. Now, it is for this reason that we took a very firm and resolute stance, which stance, by the way, seemed to not have gone down well with the powers that be. Because just before we could commence with the meeting, we were threatened with regards to the unlawfulness of us having to air our concerns. Is it not even an open secret? Why should it be hidden? We're not plunging any processes or anyone into disrepute. All that we are doing is to stand up for what belongs to us, rightfully so. We're not begging for that money. It is money that is budgeted for. It is money that is allocated in terms of the budget to the teams. The teams are the beneficiaries of that money. Now, if we are threatened of action, disciplinary action, for coming in public, out in public, and expressing our dismay and frustration, ladies and gentlemen, you should understand that these clubs are not run with peanuts. These clubs are funded directly from the coffers and pockets of club owners. The very same traveling allowance is myriad. It is so thin that it would only, at the very least, cover traveling expense or costs of one trip from Bloemfontein to Sasolburg, and it's done. But the very same amount is not even been advanced to clubs. Clubs are experiencing dire financial constraints. Perhaps we need to send a reminder that this is a third tier of the league in South Africa. It is aimed at ensuring that it is a pathway for development. So it is expected and it's incumbent on those who are running the league to be appreciative of such circumstance and to show support to clubs, not by informing the clubs that payment for 2021-22 season was processed recently. That's a shame. That we are in default on 2 or more seasons. Prize monies of clubs which won the provincial streams to date have not been paid. Dikwen has not been paid. Mangaung United has not been paid. These clubs have not been paid their prize monies. These are the issues that we raised in that gathering on the 20th of August. And we left that gathering persuaded that our issues are being taken care of and they are taken seriously. Only to be told that 2022-23 soccer season, this is the previous season, the allowance, as you can see in the press release, there is not even, the league is non-committal in terms of when do you expect payment of this allowance. It's non-committal. All that it's saying is that we are done with 2021-2022 season. We paid it recently, which again is sharply disputed. Some of the clubs have not been paid, even that allowance of the referred soccer season. But the previous soccer season, we are told we are still sorting out. What are we sorting out? Take us into your confidence. Explain to us why, what is it that we need to understand the blockages. All that we're saying as clubs, let us have communication. Let us talk. Let us be transparent. That's all we want. But what we have here is a situation of an animal farm. We are owed money that is unlawful, unless whichever way you look at it, when you are owed money and you are owed in breach of an obligation by the person, by the defaulter, that becomes unlawful. But when you are about to talk about it, you are also going to engage in an unlawful activity. On what basis? That defies logic. On what basis? Because all that we're saying is that, remember, in terms of the rules, we can't even go to court to claim the monies because we are told we need to follow protocol. Now, we are told we can't even talk. We are gagged. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech, which is sacrosanct. It's just we are being suffocated. We are told, suffer in silence. We will deal with you as and when. By the way, before any club in the league has to participate in official matches, that club must pay an affiliation fee. With no affiliation fee, you can't play. Conversely, and that is where Animal Farm situation comes in. Conversely, if you are a club, if you are the league, and you don't honor your financial obligations, it should be business as usual. Is that fair? Is that just? The answer is a big no. The playing fields must be leveled. We are equally an important and integral stakeholder, integral part of this league. We're a stakeholder, and we should be valued. And the clubs took a firm decision. Which decision obviously has rubbed the league on the wrong side. That no pay, no play. Now the fixture is out, thrown down our throats, and we are informed. You play, and we'll sort you out later on. We need to issue a stern warning. That will not happen. We are unfazed, we are fearless, but we remain disciplined in our approach, because ours is a cause that we are fighting for amateur football in this province. We have no ulterior motives. All that we want is the league come to the party, respect and value the clubs, because we are the major stakeholders in this game. So, in summation and in conclusion, I wish to reiterate, and my colleagues and who are here will also add where I could have omitted some crucial points. We have colleagues on the WhatsApp platform. All the clubs attached their electronic signatures to say enough is enough. We're not going to engage any further. We want what is lawfully due to us. Until such time that we receive that, we are saying that the clubs are not going to attend any official matches or any activity arranged by the league, unless that activity has to do with a bilateral that we started on the 20th of August. It's an unfinished business. We started a bilateral, we have abandoned it, and that left a bitter taste in our mouths, and it cannot happen. With those few words, I thank you, and I would then check with my colleagues if there is any other points that they feel were omitted, and if so, I invite them to give their input. If not, members in attendance are at liberty to pose questions, and we will endeavor to really respond to your questions to the best of our abilities. Okay. Thank you. I think we are covered. I think questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to find out. You said the teams have been threatened. All the teams have been threatened. How were they threatened? Were they threatened that they will be expelled? Or were they threatened to be fined? What was the threat?
Shortly before we commence with this press briefing, there's a letter that we received from the province warning us against proceeding with this meeting or press meeting, and citing that the gathering would be unlawful, and anyone who would attend or participate will be disciplinary action will be taken. I'm not sure if I will say they will face the might of the law, because I think the law would not necessarily work in favor of someone who is in the wrong and use the very same tool to threaten another in asserting his or her rights. So it's more of, we are told, disciplinary action will be taken. But we've seen this movie before. It happened in the apartheid times, and it cannot happen in constitutional democracy, where the rule of law prevails, where the our constitution, as far as freedom of speech is concerned, it's quite clear and very succinct in that as long as we are within the legal parameters, we're not insulting anyone. If telling the truth, if talking truth to power means that we will be banished, we'll take that head on. It can't be that we are intimidated for asserting our rights. We don't want to, we're not going to mince our words in this one. We are resolute, tenacious, and very determined to fight for what is lawfully ours. That is lawfully ours. So if we are told to tell people, to tell the world that you are owed money is unlawful, then I would have missed a point in terms of what really comprises and constitute lawfulness and unlawfulness. In our view, whatever that you are doing here is simply to cry out loud, because we don't have any other way. We don't get audience. We tried, we followed the necessary protocols and procedures to no avail. This is the last resort that we have. Thank you, sir.
My name is Lewang from Free State. I just want to ask, so are you saying there's a possibility or the
Thank you for that question. So it's an important question. Look, if bullying had a friend, that which happened during the draw will be really a friend of bullying. We expressed our view that we are not going to participate. And we even said it's because of the non-adherence with the rules, with the resolutions. You had until the 1st of September to revert to us. You didn't do so. Revert to us. All that the league should have done was to revert to us within a day or so. And would have honored that invitation. But they didn't even revert. They told us that whatever issues you have, go to the pre-season meeting and address them there. Why are we duplicating issues? Were we going to, it would seem that we were expected to go and regurgitate and resuscitate them as well. Issues that are already resolved in terms of having timelines for them to revert to us. Now, this brings us to a very crucial question. The lawfulness and legality of that gathering. I said in my own dictionary, perhaps you can peruse dictionary meaning of meeting and get a clear understanding of, can that gathering, I don't even want to call it gathering, that which happened there was nothing but monologue. So the clubs were, features were conducted, or rather draw was conducted, and the club's stance is very clear. And it's delineated in our memorandum of grievance. No pay, no play. Now, this leaves us with a very calamitous situation. And I hope sanity will prevail with the powers that be. That would they really allow calamity to sink this noble project? This is a noble project of development of football in the country. By just put away egos, come to the table, and do what is right. Pay clubs what is due. And let's deal with other issues arising from the memorandum. Let's deal with those issues with a high level of collegiality and ensure that football at the end of the day becomes victorious, that emerges as a victor in the whole quagmire. But so no pay, no play. And this is the stance of all the clubs in the league.
So another one if other teams bona ba bula hore they wanna continue ba bapala, lona le sota ka tsela.
Look, in a struggle, you might have sellouts here and there. We don't know. All that we know, we are a united front. We are acting as a collective. So we are in unison. What affects those teams who would want to honor the fixtures equally affects us. So if they trivialize their struggle and decide to honor a fixture and betray the struggle, then we are more than prepared to really count our losses. In any revolution, there are casualties. Maybe will be casualties. We don't hope that we'll get to that stage. We hope that this gathering here will really send out a clear message that we want to engage, that we want that bilateral, and that we want closure, so that we can earnestly commence with the activities of the league. That's what we want. In actual fact, there are already casualties because clubs have started preparations. Clubs are now incurring expenses for not playing. So already this is creating some sort of financial discomfort and constraints to clubs. So soonest we deal with this crisis, the better for all. And this, again, will ensure that football at amateur level emerges victorious out of this exercise.
And
Just for understanding purposes, in terms of agreements between the provincial body, that SAFA, and the clubs, what is the time period that this money should be paid in each and every season? Because I believe, since there's promotion, relegation, there won't be agreement every season to say by this time frame, monies will be paid.
Look, thanks for that. It would appear that the league has sort of adopted a very worrying trend. They pay as and when they deem necessary. The relations are skewed. The terms of relations are skewed. When it favors the league will assert its rights. When it's against the league, then the clubs are at the back foot. So the clubs are actually literally at the league's mercy. The clubs have been turned into beggars who approaches the league with their head on hand and beg for the league to discharge its lawful obligation. So, ordinarily, whichever way you can look at it, 2021-2022 season allowance, if it's not paid on 21st of September 2023, what does that say? What message does that send out? When 2022-23, previous soccer season, has not been paid, what does that say? And the league is actually so determined to commence the business of the day. It can't be business as usual. When prize monies are to this date not paid, there is a club, Mataita has not been paid for participating in the Nedbank Cup. They have not been paid. It's not a secret. Now, when we speak about it, we are black sheep. It can't be right. There shouldn't be any infusion of fear. It can't be right. So what we expect ordinarily, and this is in our memorandum of grievances, is that pay us on monthly basis. It's an allowance. What's the point of incurring an expense 6 months, 12 months later, you reimburse that expense? What's the logic in terms of finances? What's the logic?
Basically, there's no specified time frame to say this money will be paid by this period in your statement as you answer the question.
As I answer the question, it is expected. It is expected that before the commencement of the season, money should have been paid, ordinarily, and this, we're saying, that's logic. Logic will dictate that. Otherwise, you accumulate debt and you plunge the clubs into further financial quagmire by not honoring your financial obligations.
For a one-on-one, is what I will have to.
One-on-one? Yes. Okay. All right. Anyone who would like to add anything? Anyone who would like to add?
Covered. They are covered.
Covered. All right. It's covered. Thank you so much, members of the media, for once more honoring our invitation at very truncated timelines. We really appreciate the interest that you are showing in our plight, and once more, as the clubs, we remain humble for your audience. And we hope that this issue, which we deem to be a crisis issue, will receive the necessary attention. There's going to be a rolling plan of action. We intend to escalate our issues to the highest level within the sports industry to ensure that we are taken seriously. Playing in an amateur level doesn't mean we must be amateurish. I think that should be very clear. We are in the amateur level for purposes of other things such as players not receiving certain remunerations and all of that. But in terms of playing standards, because this is the future Bafana Bafana generation, this is the pool that should be feeding the professional league. For that to happen, we need what I would term an enabling environment. Currently, the environment is not really conducive to allow clubs to really produce quality players with the lack of support that I've already alluded to. All right, thank you very much, and we can then adjourn the session. Thanks.